Hello there, this is the Alien Wicked, and this is...
The Ducky Gwen. Welcome to yet another installment of the Ducky Alien Files. Tonight we're going to be talking about Ignaz Semmelweis's contribution to society that was really, really, really important, which
Yep.
also at the same time involved medical horror story. We will explain why as we get further into this video, as trust me, it is a stuff of nightmares pertaining to him mainly for said
Yeah.
contributions.
hmm
It's funny how you contribute to something good, but then
They
you
bite the hand
get
that feeds you.
you basically get rejected for said
Contrib-
contributions when it otherwise should have been common sense from the beginning.
Yes, I
In this
agree
case,
that
hand washing.
Yes, that's true. I do this every day for all
Same here.
types of reasons. One I do in the shower as well because I want every inch of me to be clean when I'm in the shower. But that being said, okay.
Yeah, same here. I also like to be clean in the shower. I love to shower every single day because, otherwise I'd feel very icky.
Yes, the ickiness is not good.
Ever wonder where the term the ick came from?
Where?
Believe it or not, TikTok. And it's by
TikTok?
accident, not on purpose. No,
Yeah.
I take it back. Not from TikTok directly, but from the YouTuber Drama Queen, who made videos on the ick trend of TikTok.
Yep.
If anyone wants to check it out, I will find it and put the link in the description below. But let's continue on to Ignaz Semmelweis.
I
So,
think his name is. Okay, let's hear it.
So when I came across the video made by Petal Palmer on this, I was shocked that, hey, there was someone that was aware of the positive effects of hand washing after all.
Yeah,
He
I
knew
did
what was up.
see this. Yeah, I did see this video a few months ago, I think. But I know I've seen it, but I couldn't remember his name or continue anyways.
So this was something that otherwise should have been common sense, but then again, considering the time period,
It
surprisingly,
wasn't.
it wasn't. You would think that hand washing, rather the awareness of hand washing, didn't exist back then, right? But
Right?
once you see this video, like I have, trust
And
me,
I
your perception's going to change everything.
yeah.
Someone knew what was up, and that someone was Ignaz Semmelweis. So, Ignaz Semmelweis was a Hungarian physician who discovered the
Yes.
cause of childbed fever, also
Oh,
known as
disease. That was a disease. I thought it was that disease, but I just couldn't confirm it yet. Okay.
believe it or not, it was also known as something called puerperal fever.
Purple
And
fever.
yes, puerperal fever. Kind of
Oh,
sounds like peripheral, but without the H, if that makes any sense. But
okay.
he introduced the concept of antisepsis into medical practice. Uh,
Mm.
this is where the modern advent of medicine came into play. And yet,
Yeah.
this particular individual got so much flack for this crap.
Yeah, this is yeah, a lot of good people seem to get a lot of even back then a lot of shit for something they should get for. They should be praised for this, but I found it just ridiculous that they treated him like an outcast because of this.
Yes. So to gain an understanding of what this discovery was and the introduction to modern medicine as we know of in this context. So
Mm.
Semmelweis was educated at the universities of Pest and Vienna. He received his doctor's degree from Vienna in 1844 and was appointed assistant at the obstetric clinic in Vienna. He soon became involved in the problem of puerperal infection, the scourge of maternity hospitals throughout Europe, although most women delivered at home. Those who had to seek hospitalization because of poverty, illegitimacy, or obstetrical complications faced mortality rates ranging as high as between 25 to 30%. Oh my goodness, that is a bit
Just,
overwhelming.
yeah, that is a little overwhelming, even for a grand rip-off. I mean, how many souls did he have to take that time?
Again, since we're talking about a practically somewhat primitive period at this point, some thought that the infection was induced by overcrowding, poor ventilation, the onset of lactation, or something called miasma.
Miasma? What is? I never heard of that.
My miasma.
Yes? What is that?
Oh my.
I never heard of that. I may have heard the word, but I still wonder what it means.
So miasma is a form of bad air, which is also known as night air.
Night air. Okay. Bad air, night air. Okay.
Yeah. And the theory held that epidemics were caused by miasma emanating from rotting organic matter. Whoa.
Oh,
Yep. You see where this is
yeah,
going?
30.
Yep.
Yep. Not dirty, but 30.
So Semmelweis proceeded to investigate its cause over the strong objections of his chief, who, like other continental physicians, had reconciled himself to the idea that the disease was unpreventable. Up. The first
Oh,
of many rejections by Ignaz's peers. Here we go. And so now,
Jesus.
yeah. And so now we're gonna, I'm gonna get to the notes I made from Petal
Hey,
Palmer's video.
okay.
So there were differences between the care of new mothers with doctors and midwives' clinics, so it seemed. It would be
Yeah.
understandable to believe so, considering the mortality rates were deemed higher with doctors than with the midwives' clinics, and the phenomenon of doctors' plague that came about resulting from all that hysteria, understandably so.
Oh, God. The hysteria. Always the hype.
And so Ignaz Semmelweis did an investigation into the mortality rates resulting from the childbed fever, and his investigation initially led to the belief that if women gave birth on the way to the hospital or if they gave birth on the street before they entered the hospital, hardly showed any signs of childbed fever.
Mm.
They hardly showed any signs of childbed fever. He noticed that women gave birth on their side at a midwife's clinic, whereas the doctors they gave birth on their backs. Now, you would think that rectifying the difference in positioning where he had the mothers at the doctors give birth on their sides like is done at the clinic would have solved the problem, right? Wrong.
Right.
No change was made. And as Petal points out in the video, the director of the doctor's clinic wasn't too happy with the fact that he dared to even question the practices made. So Ignaz ended up being demoted as a result.
Uh,
Regardless, he was determined to continue the investigation.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Though,
He's
despite his determination, however, he had to put the investigation on hold because things got too overwhelming for him. You know, with the amount of deaths and the discouragement taking a toll on his mental health.
Uh-oh, the squirrel. I didn't
Yeah.
hear about the. I heard. Okay, continue.
No, you continue.
I heard that he was, spoiler alert, put in a hospital for his mental health. Supposedly, that's what I heard from the video as well.
I was actually going to get to that part later on in the video, but
But since
let's
you, okay, let.
yeah, so as I stated, he got discouraged by the amount of rejection from the
Yeah.
failures during his investigation going nowhere. So he took what I would like to call a brief self-exile in Venice, Italy to recuperate.
Well, that's.
That trip would prove to be a godsend as he came back to the hospital a month later to the major breakthrough he so desperately longed for. Let's see what that breakthrough is.
Okay,
So,
that's.
yeah, he found out a colleague of his passed away while working at the hospital. The colleague was a forensic medicine professor known as Jacob Kolechka.
Yes.
While teaching and performing an autopsy, a student accidentally pricked his finger with a knife. And you can safely guess what happened after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ripoff showed up and took his soul.
Or as commonly stated, he got sick and a few
Yeah,
days later he died.
damn. What did he die of?
Well, as per the autopsy performed on Kolechka by Ignaz, he had similar symptoms to that of the women that died from childbed fever.
Uh-oh. Oh boy. Oh,
Yep.
that's a good reason to wash your frickin' hands, people.
Yep, absolutely. But
Mm-hmm.
we're going to delve deep into what led to the discovery of why you need to wash your hands, particularly in this case in the medical field. So, in short, it was discovered that the doctors that performed the fateful childbirthing duties did the autopsies prior.
Son of a bitching bitch.
And you can guess where this leads to.
Yep.
The residual cadavers on their hands would in turn get the mother sick and ultimately die the same fate.
Oh, fidget spinner.
Yep, fidget spinner. This is where the problem solved moment ensues. The problem solved moment ensues when it was realized that they needed to wash their hands, and not only their hands, but the equipment. Who knew?
That would have helped.
Yeah, that would have helped, yes. To prevent what occurred in the first place.
Yeah, which was childbed fever.
Yes, and the required sterilization efforts require not just soap and water, but a combo of a chlorine solution with water.
That would do the trick. That'll kill the little bastards. The germs, I mean.
And for that reason, this was to be performed after autopsies and before childbirthing duties.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where things improved.
Yeah.
Yep, the doctors washed their hands before childbirthing duties and after autopsies.
Oh, that's good. And I guess things could gradually improve.
Yes. The end, right? Nope.
Not for him.
Nope. We're going to get to that in a bit. So, under those procedures, the mortality rates in the first division dropped from 18.27 to 1.27%. Major difference.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, that was a major difference. See? And in March and August of 1848, no woman died in childbirth in his division.
Cool.
And the younger medical men in Vienna recognized the significance in Semmelweis' discovery and gave him all possible assistance. Again, the end. Again, the end, right? Nope.
Not the end.
His superior, on the other hand, was critical, not because he wanted to oppose him, but because he failed to understand him. And sadly, that was the case with most of his peers within the medical industry of that time.
Yes. I think he may have been an Asperger's person, the Semmelweis person who may have been Aspie. Asperger's?
Yes, but there hasn't been any inclination that he has that disorder or any other disorder for that matter. As far as I'm concerned, he didn't have any inherited medical problems that we are aware of, but...
Oh, I just thought because society treated him like, excuse my language.
Right, but even those without disabilities can be treated like...
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yep, it could be for many, many reasons, because people have a reason to hate. They can hate for any reason.
Because you have an idea in this case.
Yes, because of something that today benefits millions and billions of people.
Yep. And
So,
also, yep.
Continue.
I was going to say it also is important in the food industry to wash your dang hands too.
Yes, in the food industry too, and in practically any industry.
Involving people.
Yes, involving people.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, for political reasons, he was dropped from his post at the clinic.
Oh, Christ.
that unfortunately that same clinic would revert to the old practices of not washing their hands prior to childbirthing and after an autopsy.
Oh, so they reverted back to their stupid ways.
Well, for a long time, that is up until his eventual death.
Oh, man.
He then applied for a teaching post at the University of Midwifery, but was turned down. Soon after
Oh,
that, he gave a successful lecture at the Medical Society of Vienna entitled The Origin of Puerperal Fever. At the same time, he applied once more for the teaching post, but although he received it, there were restrictions attached to it that he considered humiliating. So he left Vienna and returned to Pest in 1850.
back to.
Yep.
Mm,
Yep, pretty much. He worked for the next 6 years at the St. Roch's Hospital in Pest. An epidemic of puerperal fever had broken out in the obstetrics department. If I keep butchering that word, I'm sorry. And at his request, Semmelweis was put in charge of the department. His measures promptly reduced the mortality rate, and in his years there, it averaged only 0.85%. And yet in Prague and Vienna, the rate was still from 10 to 50%. Yep. See the difference here, folks.
Which people would wash their hands more, it would be more civilized.
Well, thankfully, a lot of those people wash their hands more often than not. So, which is a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not in the same standards as
They,
as the 1800s. We're not anymore.
I know
So,
that. Looking at an iPad, looking at your avatar, you wouldn't see that in the 1800s.
nope, major difference again.
Mm-hmm.
In 1855, he was appointed professor of obstetrics at the University of Pest. He married and had 5 children and developed his private practice.
Oh, good.
His ideas were accepted in Hungary, and the government addressed a circular to all district authorities ordering the introduction of the prophylactic methods in Semmelweis. In 1857, he declined the chair of obstetrics at the University of Zurich. Vienna remained hostile towards him, and the editor of the Wiener Medizinische Wochenschrift wrote that it was time to stop the nonsense about the chlorine hand wash. Here we go again.
Bull. Sorry, I just don't like people picking on other people who are different.
In 1861, Semmelweis published his principal work, Die Ideologie der Begriff und die Prophylaxis des Childbed-Fevers, the etiology, concept, and prophylaxis of childbed fever. He sent it to all the prominent obstetricians and medical societies abroad, but the general reaction was adverse. Again, not surprising considering the general time period. The weight of authority stood against his teachings. He addressed several open letters to professors of medicine in other countries, but to little effect. His letters grew increasingly offensive, with expressions of anger, frustration, and bitterness. At a conference of German physicians and natural scientists, most of the speakers, including the pathologist Rudolf Virchow, rejected his doctrine. Yep. All those, yep. All the negativity, as you heard here, really began to take a toll on him. It really did.
Yeah, I believe it.
Because you do something so good for the world, and yet this is a type of thanks that you give to the person that was benefiting you, especially with washing your hands.
Yep, very true.
Yep. This was the beginning of the end here. That particular paragraph brought to you by Britannica.com. From 1861 onward, Semmelweis's mental health deteriorated.
I wonder why.
The years of controversy had gradually undermined his spirit, and he suffered bouts of severe depression. By 1865, his behavior had become increasingly erratic, possibly because of dementia or advanced syphilis.
Syphilis? Oh, how? Oh, yeah, they didn't have those things back then either. Condoms.
Yep, no condoms, but we don't know if it was sexually transmitted or not. There hasn't been any indication of him having illegitimate sexual relations.
That's good.
Yeah. And so eventually he was put into a mental institution, whereupon Semmelweis, realizing his colleague's intent, protested and attempted to leave, but was taken in by the guards. And this was the worst part I was talking about. He was beaten severely, placed under confinement, and subjected to treatments with castor oil. I wonder what about castor oil is that bad?
I wonder. I think it
Yeah.
stings or something. Stings, not stinks.
Right. And there comes the sad part. He died 2 weeks into his detention at the asylum. Ironically, his illness and death were caused by the infection of a wound on his right hand, possibly acquired when he was beaten by the guards. An autopsy revealed that he had died of the same disease against which he had struggled all his professional life. So, dang.
Childhood fever?
It came right back at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, that's the thanks that he gets for the contributions that he made to society.
That is ridiculous.
Right.
That
But
is disgusting how to treat another human being like that.
especially a medical professional of all people.
Yes.
And one that was way ahead of its time while we're at it.
Yep.
And most importantly, someone who had common sense before common sense became a thing.
That's true.
Yep, but eventually, as time passed, his work was eventually accepted by medical science, half of which were the very people that have otherwise rejected him. You know, it's one of those cases where
Guilt
you're
was
more dead than alive.
Oh, more worth dead than alive. That is a bastard of a philosophy.
Yeah. And one of the prominent examples of the acceptance of his work was when his influence on the development of knowledge and control of infection was hailed by Joseph Lister, the father
Oh,
of modern antisepsis. I think with the greatest admiration of him and his achievement, and it fills me with joy that at last he is given the respect due to him.
good.
Couldn't it be any more truer?
Yep, that's true.
And with that said and out of the way, this will be the end of the video. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more from us. And then hit the bell button if you want to be notified of our uploads. And we will see you this Saturday on Ducky and the Alien, where we're going to talk about my outing at Costa Mesa, as well as the 2 new Lost Wave discoveries.
Also, with the moral of this story, treat other people with kindness for Christ's sake.
Yeah, especially those that
have good intentions.
Not just good intentions, but
good
those
idea.
that are potentially ahead of its time. Most importantly, on stuff that has been that's proven to benefit millions and millions of people in the future, such as the common sense basics of washing your hands.
That's true. Thank you.
We will see you guys on Saturday.
Okay. See you on Saturday. Bye.
Bye for now, folks.
Bye for now.